Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys of Magic. This is Hunter and Shane. Say what up, Shane.
What's up, nerds?
We are back with another video. This time, something a little different. We're gonna go ahead and talk about that's right, that is Guys That Magic, the top 10 best cards that we believe from Duskmourn House of Horrors to go into the 99 of a deck. So this is not necessarily the best commanders or best legendary creature, but no, it's all the other things that we think are really good into a deck. Right, Shane?
That's correct. I like all these cards.
Yeah, we got some good ones here. And of course, before we get into this video though, you want to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already, because like 80% of you guys aren't even subscribed. What are we
Wild.
doing? What are we doing? But yeah. So let's go ahead and get started with number 10. We're just putting the Verge land cycle. That is right. That's all of the brand new rare land cycle from this set. Shane, what do you think?
I think they're great. I think that I like them more in two color decks just because I think that it might be a little easier to turn on for both sides, but I know that you have feelings of going upwards at anything, and I do agree that all these cards can easily just be slot into like whatever the top color is, if it's like the black and red one, it taps for black no matter what. Like they're easily just like take out a basic, put this in. I get that. Pretty easy includes here.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I know you said you like it in two color decks. Of course, two color decks. I like it in three color. I like it in four color. I like it in five color. It doesn't say it needs to be a basic, right?
That's true.
So these lands, they activate their second color if you got any type of those other land types, and that comes from triome lands, that comes from dual lands, that comes from anything that's got that island or swamp on it. I mean, everything lands at this point, right? This just turns it on.
That's
Um,
true. I
Verge
like them.
lands, fantastic. Go out and buy as many as you can, because I do believe wholeheartedly this is the best rare land cycle they've printed in a very, very long time. Can't wait to see the rest of the cycle be printed. But this cycle is going to be very good going forward.
I mean, it's fast mana too, right? So that's fantastic.
It is. Yeah, just the fact that you can drop these down, tap it for a color immediately, where it's not one of those other ones that's like, oh, it'll turn on eventually and tap
Yeah,
for the
or
colors.
comes in
But until
tapped, or
then,
yeah.
it taps for colorless. But no, this taps for your color that you need. It's fantastic.
Yep.
Moving on to number 9 in our top 10 list, we've got Ghost Vacuum. What is Ghost Vacuum? Well, it's one mana artifact. You can tap it for free, exile target card from a graveyard. You can also pay 6, tap it, sacrifice Ghost Vacuum, put each creature card exiled with Ghost Vacuum onto the battlefield under your control with a flying counter on it. Each of them is a 1/1 spirit in addition to its other types. Activate only as a sorcery. This is coming in at number 9 because we believe Graveyard Hate is very good. Right, Shane?
Yeah, and it's kind of just free. You just have to tap it, A lot of the time it's you had to pay a thing and then tap, or it's a ETB that happens once to somebody's graveyard, but the fact that this is just slowly picking off someone's graveyard, like that's pretty good, dude. And then like you said, you liked it for the fact that late game, pay 6 and just everything you've got rid of they come back now for you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And this being a one drop, so even if it's in your opening hand, this is a fantastic just get on the board real quick. And if you are playing anybody at the table that's running a graveyard strategy deck, they are so bummed that you're running Ghost Vacuum. Um, and even if they're not running a graveyard strategy, just keep exiling all the creature cards. And then, like you said, I do like the ability where you can just go ahead and pay 6, get all of those creatures, any kind of ETBs that those creatures might have, you now get them and swing in for some 1/1 flyers.
Yeah, I know. It's like a little slow Soul Guide Lantern, right? Because I mentioned that this one, you have to tap it to activate each card. So it's like you're losing the ability to get everyone's at once, but then you're gaining the ability to get cards back. So I think it's kind of a trade-off, and I like that.
Yeah, that's one of the cards we kind of compared it to, right? Soul Guide Lantern, Deathrite Shaman kind of does that. A Relic of Progenitus. They all kind of tap and exile things from graveyards. They all cost 1 mana. Obviously, Deathrite Shaman is the only one that can only be in Golgari kind of strategies. Soul Guide Lantern, obviously, you can get that card draw there. And then, of course, with the Relic of Progenitus, it's like you can exile all graveyards all at once. And that's cool. Don't get me wrong. But I just like the ability that Ghost Vacuum has where you can just target the thing yourself.
Yeah. And like you said, it's kind of a they each have their own extra part of it. Like all the ones we mentioned get rid of cards, but then it's like what kind of flavor do you want? Did you want the draw? Did you want like the death right in those colors exactly that kind of give you some mana and whatnot, or do you want a ghost vacuum because you want to get all the things you got rid of out of people's graveyard and you want to have them on your board now?
Yeah, exactly right. And we've seen with Relic of Progenitus is like a pretty expensive card. It's like I think I don't know, just under $10, but there's a reason that card's played,
Yeah.
and I think Ghost Vacuum will creep up to that point eventually. So, yeah, that's why we're putting it here at number 9. Moving on to number 8 in our list of top 10, we have Grab the Prize. It's 1 and a red for a sorcery that says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card, draw 2 cards. If the discarded card wasn't a land card, Grab the Prize deals 2 damage to each opponent. So you got some upside there after discarding something, if it's not a land.
Yeah, because we've seen the ability to do this all the time, and this is just kind of strict upgrades in certain areas because it does drop down a notch because it's in sorcery. A lot of these are instant, but it's cool because you can now have the ability to damage everyone at the table. Like those kind of board pings, like that's very relevant sometimes. And like if it's like throw the possibilities on our list of cards that we looked at, but granted it's going from instant to sorcery, but it's just literally doing the exact same thing but different and better maybe
I
upside.
feel like if Grab the Prize was an instant, this would probably be higher on the list, but
That's
I
true.
think because it is a sorcery, we are keeping it here at number 8. You did mention our other comparisons. We got Cathartic Reunion on the screen as well. That draws 3 cards. You could discard 2, but that's a sorcery speed. Doesn't give you upside. And Seize the Spoils, also a sorcery that says you draw 2 and create a treasure token for 3 mana. Now it's all about kind of what your deck is trying to do. Grab the Prize if you want to just put in some extra damage there for things that discard. I think it's a good swap, but it's
Right.
all
I
what
mean,
you want to do.
exactly. Like you said, like the Seize the Spoils, for example, it's a little more expensive, but then maybe you're playing a deck that cares more about the treasure production, so that makes sense for. But just in generic being good, I think that Grab the Prize is it's gonna be pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming in at number 7 on our list is going to be Insidious Fungus. That's right. It's 1 green mana for a 1/2 creature fungus. Has an ability you can pay 2, sacrifice Insidious Fungus, and choose 1. You can destroy target artifact, or destroy target enchantment, or draw a card. Then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. We've seen this ability before, and we will get to our comparisons in a moment. But you really like this card for that third one, right, Shane?
I do, dude. When this was, I remember talking about this in the spoilers, and I'm thinking like this card, it's really really good just for being generically good. I think because you
Mm-hmm.
always want to get some artifact removal, enchantment removal, but then just to default down to that draw card ramp, I think that's really strong. I don't know. I liked it the minute I saw it, and I was like, if I'm playing green and I'm doing any of these things, like I'm definitely throwing this card in.
Yeah, because if you put this down on like let's say you get this turn 1, right? Play it turn 1, and then turn 2, swing in, just get 1 point of damage, sacrifice this draw card, put a land card, ramp.
Yeah, I mean that's like the floor. You could also use this as targeted artifact or enchantment removal. That it's you mentioned we were going to talk about some comparisons, but directly my first comparison was Cankerbloom, but it's almost the
Mm-hmm.
exact same card. It's one more mana, like Cankerbloom's one more mana, but then it's one less mana to activate, and then that one really cares about proliferating. So again, it's like a little that's more niche, right? Like a lot of cards that say proliferate, you probably want to play it in that certain deck, whereas this one, drawing cards and ramping is just generically good.
Yeah, another comparison there was Haywire Might. That one also cost 1, and you can sacrifice it to exile target non-creature artifact, non-creature enchantment. Doesn't do the thing where you're drawing cards and putting lands down. So yeah, Insidious Fungus is just seems very good in any kind of situation you're looking for.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a sleeper almost, right? Like it's not flashy, but I think it's strong.
Yeah. Coming in at number 6, we've got Nowhere to Run. It is 1 and a black for an enchantment that's got flash. It says when it enters, target creature an opponent controls gets -3/-3 until end of turn. Creatures your opponents control can be the targets of spells and abilities as though they didn't have hexproof. It also says ward abilities of those creatures don't trigger. And that is where this card is fantastic. In my opinion, just shutting off ward makes this card an all-star.
Yeah, I was gonna say you are a big fan because I'm sure that people playing EDH, they're really liking the whole ward ability, and they seem to be printing that a lot now. And ability, just turning that off is really good.
Yeah, we've seen some of the best kind of cards have ward. I mean, even from this set, a lot of cards have the incredible ward costs of like sacrifice 3 permanents to get rid of this
Yeah.
card. Nowhere to run. That first ability is very cool. I mean, it gives something -3/-3. Go ahead and kill their mana dork or whatever's on the field that you think is most pesky. But it really comes in with having the ability to attack things. Not only that just have ward, where you just don't even need to, like ward doesn't even trigger anymore, but if they had hexproof as well, is just not even. This card's good.
Oh yeah, 100%. I like it. Just being
And we
able to
did
shut that off.
Yeah, we did see kind of that in the Assassin's Creed. We had Shay Cormac, if you guys remember that. That ability that said ward doesn't trigger, they just lose ward. That was something we talked about when we talked about those spoilers and kind of commander grades, and I felt like that was a really powerful effect then. Having it onto an enchantment where you can throw into any deck is obviously with black, but is just so good.
Yeah, I agree.
And of course, some of the most popular commanders nowadays, like Voja, Jaws of the Conclave, that's
Such a
got
good
Ward
card.
3. It is
Yeah,
so powerful. Just having the ability where you don't have to pay that extra 3 because of nowhere to run is fantastic. Roaming Throne is another card
we're
that
seeing all the time.
everybody's playing.
Yeah,
I mean, if you've seen our deck techs, we are
yeah,
all fans of Roaming Throne, and I feel like we
yeah,
should shove it into every deck because it's that good.
yeah.
Taking that ward off of that card makes it, yeah, just no ward, please. Coming in at our number 5 card here is Split Up. It is 1 and 2 white for a sorcery. It just says choose one. Destroy all tapped creatures or destroy all untapped creatures. It's a new rare board wipe-esque. I'm saying esque because obviously it's not going to wipe the entire board if some creatures are untapped and some creatures are tapped, depending on whichever mode you choose. But having a 3 mana potential board wipe is so good.
And I mean, massive. Like I would say the upside of this is that you're obviously the one choosing, of course. So you know
Mm-hmm.
you get to dictate whether or not your creatures will be tapped or untapped. So it's also kind of like a one-sided board wipe in at times, or always, I
Oh,
guess,
yeah.
because you'll never pick the one you have, right?
Yeah, I mean, there is that possibility. If you need to get rid of your stuff, if you have death triggers
That's
or
true.
something like that, obviously
That's
you
true.
won't. But after a huge swing, maybe then you're all tapped down. You'll be like, and destroy all not tapped creatures. So that destroys everybody else's stuff.
Or it came
Or
to you and everyone was swinging at you. You're like, right, well, everything
exactly
you swung at me is dead.
before I swing,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah. Split up 3 mana board wipe is. Are we gonna start seeing more of this? Who knows? We are seeing a lot of power creep with all these cards so far, and 4 mana board wipes were a thing. 3 mana board wipes are slowly
Yeah.
becoming a thing. It's
I mean,
getting pretty wild out here.
they're good 3 mana board wipes. I mean, a lot of like Toxic Deluge, but obviously that one you're paying life.
Hmm.
But this one definitely not as good as Toxic Deluge, but still,
Yeah, this one in white though
yeah,
is just good. It's a good card.
good card.
Coming in number 4, we're actually going to be throwing in all of the Enduring Cycle. They are that good. Couldn't just pick one, throwing them all in here. So the Vitality, the Innocence, the Curiosity, the Tenacity, and the Courage, they all do something really cool. Vitality gives your creatures the ability to tap for 1 mana of any color. The Endurance allows you to draw cards whenever creatures power 2 or less enter. Enduring Curiosity is basically just a blue Toski. It's whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. The Tenacity, whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. And the Courage, whenever another creature enters, it gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. And of course, when these all die, they just come straight back as enchantments.
And that is the gas part, dude.
Hmm.
These are insane. All of these are insane. The minute they were like spoiled, we talked about this. It You're getting the ability twice, and then when you get it again, it's much harder to remove an enchantment than a creature. So you're double dipping. It's insane.
Yeah, and I'll just talk about some of them individually. Like Curiosity, for instance, I didn't mention kind of the other keyword there, but it has Flash.
Yeah.
So swinging in, your opponents say no blocks. You flash in Curiosity and draw how many cards?
How many do
Yeah,
you want?
however many connect. But yeah, Innocence has lifelink and Vitality has vigilance, in case you were wondering. But this cycle is just too good not to talk about, and that's why it's at our number 4 spot.
Yeah, I think people will very easily slot one, if not multiple of these in their deck. Um, just obviously in their respective colors. I think they're just that good. You know, like there's some cards that are just generically, I don't want to say generic, but they're just like any deck could benefit from these.
Definitely. Yeah, it just kind of takes it up a notch. Because, I mean, we've already mentioned it a couple times now, but I just have to reiterate the fact that when these are destroyed, they just stay on the battlefield as an enchantment, so they're harder to destroy.
Yeah.
Moving on to our number 3. That is right. We are coming in with Twitching Doll. It's 1 and a green for a 2/2 artifact creature spider toy. It's got an ability we can tap it to add 1 mana of any color, and you put a nest counter on Twitching Doll. And another ability we can tap it, sacrifice Twitching Doll, and create a 2/2 green spider creature token with reach for each counter on Twitching Doll. Activate only as a sorcery. So we got a 2 mana dork that has upside in late game.
Yeah. I think if you're playing green, this is just nuts, dude. Like I wish that this wasn't green because I guess if it wasn't green, it'd be an auto include in like every deck.
Every deck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because like why not? It's a dork like you said that taps for any color that adds the counter for doing nothing. It's for tapping for the color. And then yeah, late game, you get a bunch of blockers with reach. Like what? That's insane.
Yeah, the only downside of this card is you activate only as a sorcery, so you can't just do it on someone end step and be like,
That'd be
okay,
dumb.
now
Yeah.
it's time to activate all my
Yeah.
spiders.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I, I I just feel like this card, just like you said, it's really good early game tapping for the mana that you need, and then late game, once you have it still on the field, that is, you're just gonna make a bunch of spiders.
Yep.
And some comparisons we did mention here, just kind of they are 2 mana dorks. We got Llanowar Loam Speaker, Poison Dart Frog, and Elysian Carotid. All kind of do cool things with the ability to tap for mana of any color, and it just has another ability you can, I don't know, do something else. But I feel like the Twitching Doll kind of slides into this group of cards and just takes over that because of the late game ability.
Exactly. I think out of the ones we mentioned, I mean, they're all good in their own right, but like, it seems like they all do the thing that we talked about, which is 1 mana of any color, and then they have like their little splash of flavor. And I don't know, maybe you don't want any of those. Maybe you want 17 2/2 spiders on your board. It's pretty good.
Man, you tapped that for 17 times, huh?
Ah, you're right.
That's
That could be
pretty good.
that could be a little much.
It's a lot of mana. Poison Dart Frog, obviously, it has the ability to give itself Death Touch, and it has Reach itself.
Yeah.
But if you notice with Twitching Doll and all these other cards that we're kind of comparing it to, Twitching Doll is a 2/2, which is a pretty decent body.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's like the downside to it. The fact that it is not like when I first saw this creature or when I first saw this card, I thought it was just an artifact. I didn't realize that it was a creature. So I was like, creatures are a little bit easier to remove, so you won't be able to activate this in response to getting removed, which is a bummer. But
Mm-hmm.
I just think regardless, 2 mana, it's a bear. Oh my god, it's a bear.
Yeah, it is a bear. It's your favorite thing.
It's my favorite thing. It's the doll
2 mana, 2/2.
bear that taps for
Mhm.
mana of any color and can make you
Spider
more
toy.
bears.
Yeah, Twitching Doll, really good here. Coming in at number 2 with our top 10 list for Duskmourn, we have Untimely Malfunction. It's 1 and a red for an instant. It says choose 1. You can destroy a target artifact, or you can change the target spell or ability with a single target, or 1 or 2 creatures can't block this turn. Man, this card, when I first saw it, I was like, whoa, we have another deflecting SWAT kind of ability on that second mode. But what makes this card so good is that even if you don't use it as a deflecting SWAT, you can use it in a pinch for those other modes. Modal spells are just getting too good.
Yeah, it's the being able to choose anything. I get that. I get the comparison completely, 100%, because deflecting SWAT it does that. But I do know that people are gonna say, well, deflecting SWAT could be free, and I will give them that. But this has just more, like you can do other things, like you mentioned. You don't have to use the deflecting SWAT. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
probably why we like it so much.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And let's talk about these comparisons, right? So deflecting SWAT obviously is an all-star in Commander. If you have your Commander out, you just go ahead and switch for free. Return the Favor is a card that I was actually very high on from Outlaws at Thunder Junction. If you guys watched that Rocks and deck tech, I actually threw this in here as a budget 2 deflecting swat because it is also 3 mana for that deflecting swat ability with the spree cost. This is better. This is 2 mana.
Yep.
So I am super here for that. Yeah, untimely malfunction seems pretty timely to me.
I mean, granted, they don't want to give it to you for free, so we get that, but give us some more options. I like it.
Yeah. And late game, if you draw this, swing in with a couple creatures, and then make some other creatures can't block.
Yep.
So you just win that way.
I like it. It's relevant at every point of the game.
And moving on, before we get to our number 1 card, let's talk about some honorable mentions in this list that didn't quite make the top 10, but we felt are really good on their own. First up is Razorkin Needlehead. That's the one that's cost 2 for a 2/2. What's it again, Shane? It's a bear.
It is.
It's got first strike, and it says whenever an opponent draws a card, it deals 1 damage to them. Really good card, right?
Yeah, I think that it would fall pretty high on our list, meaning I guess low. Like it'd be down here in the top 5 area. It's just the fact that like the deck that wants this like to really shine would be more centered around, like forcing your opponents to take a bunch of damage or draw a bunch of cards, that kind of thing. Like it's good, very good. Don't get me wrong. We couldn't find a spot for it.
Valkavoth's Lair is another one that we were mentioning here. It is an enchantment land that's got hexproof, and it enters tapped. You choose a color as it enters, and you can tap it to add 1 mana of the chosen color. Obviously, this is very good in a land that can't be targeted. It's got hexproof. It has 2 card types on it, so that's very relevant for some specific decks. And it kind of just color fixes, right? So if you needed that color that you don't have, Valkavoth's Lair can do it for you.
Yeah, I think why it's here though is also, it seems like it'd be really targeted in either something that cares about enchantments entering the battlefield. If this didn't come in tapped, obviously we could be like, oh yeah, just put it in any deck, but you are sacrificing that for the reason of it being an enchantment land, right?
Silent Hall Creeper is another card that we are honorable mentioning. It is a 1 and a blue for a 1/1 enchantment creature horror. It can't be blocked. And when it deals combat damage to a player, you choose one that hasn't been chosen. You can put 2+1/+1 counters on it. You can draw a card, or you can have it become a copy of another target creature you control. Good card, good.
Really, yeah, I would just say good card, good. It's, again, probably a little more targeted somewhere. Like, if you wants to probably find a home, it wouldn't just be, like, generically good, but I do like this card a lot. I put it in my upgrade.
Yeah. I mean, just having the ability to go ahead and become a copy of another target creature you control could be very powerful late game.
Yeah.
You draw it late game. I mean, early game, just hitting immediately to just draw a card is good. It's good enough to mention it. Speaking of another card we are mentioning before we get to that number 1 spot, we do have Unstoppable Slasher. It's 2 and a black for a 2/3 creature zombie assassin. It's got death touch, and when it deals combat damage to a player, they lose half their life, rounded up. And whenever it dies, if it had no counters on it, return it to the battlefield tapped under its under control with 2 stun counters on it. Very powerful card that is hard to remove.
Yeah. I tried to get you to let me put this one on, and I totally get why, but like my thought was just that it's so good as a creature because of the whole as long as the deck again wants to do the swinging in for damage kind of thing. That's probably why I think it's not going to be on the list. Because not every deck wants to do that, but swinging in for damage and then nuking someone, and then I'm going to remove it with destroy or whatever. Like you're going to always 2-for-1 somebody. Like I think this card is going to it's going to make someone's deck very happy. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, and you mentioned I couldn't fight. I fought you on this one, and yes, I did. I mean, ultimately, the argument was, yeah, that's cool that it comes back when it's destroyed, but most premier removal in EDH is going to be an exile effect, which just destroys this. I mean, yes, dies to removal. That is kind of what this is,
I know, yeah.
And this is a definite target for that.
Yeah.
And the final honorable mention before we get to our number 1 spot is Head Shredder, 2 and 2 green for a 5/5 artifact vehicle. It says whenever it attacks, you may mill 2 cards, and then whenever 1 or more land cards put into your graveyard from your library, you put them onto the battlefield tapped. It's got a crew cost of 1. Shane, you absolutely love this card.
I do. I 100% think this is fantastic ramp. The downside, of course, is that it will need to be more in a graveyard-ish deck because I get it. You just throw this into any green deck, and what you mentioned to me was you're just gonna be milling over good cards maybe, and that's just kind of like the risk you're taking. You're not always
Hmm.
guaranteed to get the land every time you do this, so you will definitely if you're playing with even like the slightest graveyard package, this is an instant include, dude.
And moving on to our number one card. That is right. This is Withering Torment. Are you guys shocked this was our number one? It is 2 and a black for an instant that just says destroy target creature or enchantment. You lose 2 life.
Yep.
This is primo enchantment removal in black. It doesn't exist for a reason, but now it is. And that is why we are kind of breaking the color pie, if you will, Shane.
Yeah, I get it. It's really like hopefully it doesn't look like a cop out because we're just saying wrong card good, but I mean it is, dude. Like if you're playing black, this is I would probably put this in a lot of my decks that run black, just for the fact that you said, dude, the enchantment removal in that color is really hard to come by.
Yeah, it is. And obviously the comparisons here to other black enchantment removal spells. We have Feed the Swarm. That's the number one card everyone's most comparing it to.
Yeah.
That just says destroy target creature enchantment. It is a sorcery speed, and you lose life equal to the permanent's mana value. So for 1 extra mana, you're doing it at instant speed, and you're only losing at most 2 life.
Yeah. Because
So
sometimes enchantments are kind of expensive, dude.
because what, Shane? Omniscience is how much mana?
I don't know. It's like north of 9 or 10. It's a lot.
It's a lot, and you're taking that much. But instead, for 1 extra mana at instant speed, you can get rid of an Omniscience for just 2 life.
Yeah, or whatever's bothering you in that game.
And of course, the other kind of mono black enchantment removal, if you will, it's Invoke Despair, and we all know that card got banned.
Yeah.
That's just a very good card. Obviously, they're sacking creatures, enchantments, and planeswalkers, and losing life, and you're drawing cards. So there's a lot more to that
It's
card.
doing a little bit more.
Doing a little bit more for 5 mana, and it's got 4 black pips.
Yeah.
But Withering Torment is just so good.
I think it's just the fact that it's splashable. Like for
It's
it's
splashable.
way easier. You know, you just mentioned Invoke Despair. That is you're not splashing for that card, obviously.
And I mentioned Invoke Despair got banned. I do want to reiterate it got banned in standard at the time. It is perfectly legal in Commander.
Yeah.
And that is what we're talking about here. So put that card into 99 if you want to. But that is going to do it. That is the 99 for Duskmourn House of Horrors. That's officially Guys at Magic. If you guys liked this video, hit that like button. Comment down below. Let us know what you would have put in your top 10. Maybe we missed a card. Maybe we're just off about our top 10. But like I said, this is yeah, right. This is our opinion here. So yeah, Withering Torment's our number one. What's your number one? Comment down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, so staying up to date with all these other videos that we're putting out. And in the description, you'll find links to all of our social media accounts. That's TikTok, that's Twitter, that's Instagram. At Guys of Magic for each one. See you guys all in Vegas. If you're going to Vegas, the Guys of Magic will be there. On the screen right now, those are all of our Patreon subscribers. If you guys want to check out what they're seeing, which is not here on YouTube, check the link in the description for that and consider subscribing. And until the next video, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Bye-bye.